Fast and Furious 11 will have to break the franchise's unwritten death rule after Fast X's most shocking scene. Even though characters tend to return from the dead in the long-running franchise, one specific character cannot return in Fast and Furious 11. After the cliffhanger ending of Fast X, anticipation is high for the final film in the Fast and Furious franchise. At the end of the 10th entry, a plane carrying Roman, Tej, Han, and Ramsey is shot down by Dante. However, since their deaths are not explicitly shown, I would be shocked if these characters aren't revealed to be alive in the upcoming Fast and Furious 11. However, there is one character who seemingly dies in Fast X that should definitely remain dead. Through his actions in Fast X, Dante proves that he is perhaps the best villain in the Fast and Furious franchise. In Fast and Furious 11, it will take Dom's whole crew to take him down, with the help of Luke Hobbs and Giselle Yashar, who both surprisingly return at the end of Fast X. However, there is one character who will not be around to help in Fast and Furious 11. Even though major characters like Letty, Han, and Giselle have all returned after seemingly dying, it should not be revealed that Jacob survived his crash in Fast X. After initially being introduced as a villain in F9, Jacob, who is also Dom's brother, finds redemption at the end of the film. Therefore, Jacob is an ally in Fast X and is assigned to help protect Brian, Dom's son. Unfortunately, about halfway through the film, Brian is by Dante, which leads to Jacob sacrificing his life to save him. In Fast X, Jacob crashes his cannon-equipped car into Dante's goons' vehicles, forcing the villain to veer off course. Jacob's heroic action allows Dom to rescue his son from Dante. However, due to the huge explosion that Jacob's maneuver causes, there is no way he can return in Fast and Furious 11. While Jacob is a great character, it is actually good that he can't return. After all, his death is one of the most emotional moments in Fast X, and bringing him back for the final film would ruin it. While a lot of characters have died in the Fast and Furious franchise, not all of them have remained dead. In fact, if Jacob does stay dead, he would be one of the few major Fast and Furious characters who dies and doesn't return. Previously, Gal Gadot's Giselle was one of the biggest characters on this list until she shockingly returned in Fast X. Because of her return, Jacob is now the most notable character on the list, alongside Mr. Nobody. Since it is the final film in the franchise, it's possible that several characters could return in Fast and Furious 11. However, I really hope that Jacob is not one of them. Even though he is an interesting character and John Cena is a great actor, Jacob returning in Fast and Furious 11 would ruin one of the best moments of Fast X. Therefore, I hope that Fast and Furious 11 breaks the franchise's unwritten rule that every major character who dies must eventually return.